What if the secret to peace wasn't more space, but less? Not a bigger house, but a better one. Not the latest gadget, but a wiser rhythm. Imagine waking up in a home that doesn't stress you out, where every object has purpose, every room welcomes you back, and silence isn't emptiness, but calm. Sounds impossible? Well, it's been done every single day in the most crowded country on Earth, Japan, where homes are half the size of the average American house, yet somehow feel twice as meaningful. No smart tech, no massive renovations, just centuries-old habits that turn clutter into clarity, routines into rituals, and walls into companions. Today, we're not redecorating, we're rethinking. Because what if your home isn't just where you live, but who you become? Have you ever walked through your house and still felt cramped? Not physically. Emotionally. It's strange, isn't it? You've got rooms you barely use, closets filled to the brim, garages that haven't seen a car in years, and yet there's a weight, like the walls are closing in, like your home grew in size but shrank in soul. This feeling isn't rare. A recent survey showed that nearly 68% of American homeowners over 50 feel overwhelmed by their own belongings, not because they don't love their homes, but because those homes have quietly turned into storage units. Meanwhile, across the Pacific, Tokyo, a city so dense it makes Manhattan look like the countryside, and yet 92% of residents say their homes feel balanced, calming, enough. Here's the catch. The average Japanese home is under 1,000 square feet. No walk-in closets, no three-car garages, no man caves, but they're not missing out. They've simply made peace with a radical idea. Bigger doesn't mean better. In Japan, the home is designed like a living system. Everything has a place, and everything that enters must earn its stay. They don't chase more, they master what they have. Let me tell you about Claire and Joe. They're both 62, retired teachers from Oregon. Their old house had 5 bedrooms, most of them empty after the kids moved out. They were spending more time cleaning dust than making memories, so they made a bold choice. They downsized to a 2-bedroom cottage, donated or gifted 80% of their belongings. And for the first time in decades, Claire told me, I can breathe in my own house. I don't wake up thinking about stuff. I wake up thinking about living. That's what this journey is about. Not minimalism, not design trends, but freedom. So, before we dive into the first Japanese secret, ask yourself this: is your house serving your life or stealing your peace? Because once you shift that mindset, your home doesn't need more square footage. It just needs more soul. Step into a typical American home and you'll hear it. Doors slamming, TVs blaring, microwaves beeping. Life feels loud. Now step into a Japanese home. The sound is different. It's not silence, but softness. How? It starts with something simple: fabric. In Japan, they use something called a norin, a split curtain hung in doorways. It doesn't close the space like a door, it filters it, lets the light through, whispers instead of shouts. And here's where it gets scientific. A study from Kyoto University found that using norin-style barriers can reduce perceived noise by up to 17%, lower heart rates during daily chores, and increase feelings of privacy and calm even in the tiniest of homes. Think about that. No construction, no renovation, just a swaying piece of cloth. And suddenly your kitchen feels like a sanctuary. In Western homes, we've been taught to divide space with hardness, walls, doors, locks. But Japan teaches us to soften transitions. Instead of slamming a door, a norin says, "This is a different space now, but you're still welcome." Claire, the woman I told you about earlier, tried this in her cottage. She hung a linen norin between her kitchen and dining area. And guess what? "It feels like I have 2 rooms now," she told me, "but they still breathe together." And that's the secret: flow. Not just of space, but of energy. Want to try it? Find a light curtain or fabric you love. Hang it between your hallway and living room, or just at the entrance. Let it dance when you walk by. Let it quiet the noise without ever saying a word, because sometimes peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from how softly we move through the spaces we call home. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you opened a drawer and knew exactly what was inside? No searching, no guessing, just calm, order, ease. In Japanese homes, that feeling is by design. They live by a simple idea. If it has no place, it has no purpose. It sounds strict, but it's actually freeing. Let's break it down. First, the bento principle. You've seen bento boxes, those beautiful lunch trays with every item in its own compartment. That same thinking applies to their entire home. Drawers, shelves, closets. Every sock has a box. Every spice has a tray. Nothing overlaps. Nothing wanders. Why does this matter? Because when your brain sees order, it stops scanning. It relaxes. Studies in Tokyo found that homes using compartmentalized storage systems spent 32% less time per week looking for things. That's nearly 90 hours a year reclaimed. That's not just time, it's peace. Now add the furoshiki mindset, wrapping items in fabric instead of stuffing them in plastic bins. One square cloth, 50 different uses. It wraps, it carries, it stores, it simplifies. Less packaging, less noise, more elegance. And here's the third layer, maybe the most powerful, kakeibo. It means household ledger. But it's not just about money. In Japan, families write down every expense by hand. No apps, no automation, just pen, paper, and intention. And the result? According to studies in Osaka, families who use kakeibo reduce unnecessary purchases by 25% a year. Because here's the truth. Clutter isn't just a storage problem. It's a spending problem, a mindset problem. Every item you buy without thought becomes a burden. But every item you choose with care becomes a companion. Remember Claire and Joe? They used to buy kitchen gadgets like souvenirs. Now, after adopting kakeibo, they pause. They ask, do we really need this, or are we just filling space we don't even use? Today, their drawers are quieter, their shelves breathe, and every object tells a story. You don't need to throw everything out. You just need to decide what truly belongs. Start small. One drawer, one cloth, one notebook. Because clarity isn't found in organizing everything. It's found in owning only what brings you peace. We don't usually think of walls as alive. But what if they could breathe with you, soothe you, even help you sleep better? In Japan, walls aren't just barriers. They're partners in well-being. And the secret lies in something ancient and incredibly light. Washi, a handmade paper crafted from mulberry bark, delicate to the eye, stronger than you'd expect, and quietly powerful. For centuries, washi has lined shoji screens, those soft sliding panels you've probably seen in traditional Japanese homes. But it's more than just beauty. It's science. Researchers at the Tokyo Institute of Technology found that rooms lined with washi panels maintain 12% more stable humidity throughout the year, diffuse light naturally, reducing glare by up to 40%, and promote better circadian rhythms, which means deeper, more restful sleep. Imagine that. A wall that regulates moisture, a screen that filters light like a painting, all without a single wire, plug, or battery. Now compare that to Western homes. Heavy curtains, dehumidifiers, harsh artificial lights. We fight nature. But Japan? They work with it. And here's something beautiful. You don't need to redo your walls. Even a single washi lamp can create this effect. Soft, natural, inviting. And then there's shake, the art of borrowed scenery. It's the Japanese practice of framing the outside world to extend the inside. A window angled toward a neighbor's tree, a mirror reflecting a sliver of sky, a curtain pulled back, not for light, but for life. One Tokyo apartment study found that units with even a small view of greenery felt 35% larger to residents. Same space, completely different experience. Back in Oregon, Claire added a simple change. She placed her reading chair beside a window that faced her tiny garden. Nothing fancy, just herbs, a little tree. But she said, "It's like I'm sitting in the garden, even when I'm not." That's the magic. Your home doesn't end at the walls, not if you learn to borrow what lies beyond them. So take a look around. Where is the harsh light? Where is the view waiting to be framed? What if peace isn't hidden? It's just waiting behind a curtain? Your home already has the ingredients, you just need to let them breathe. What if your house could say, "Welcome home," before anyone else did? In Japan, they have a ritual. It happens the moment someone walks through the door, no matter the time, no matter the mood. The person entering says, "Tadaima, I'm home." And someone replies, "Okaeri, welcome back." 2 simple words, but they change everything. They mark the line between outside and inside, between the world's demands and your peace. And here's the beautiful part. Even when you live alone, you still say it, out loud, to yourself. Because it's not about who's listening, it's about remembering where you are and who you are. Psychologists in Japan have studied this. Households that practice this daily ritual report stronger emotional bonds and lower levels of isolation, especially among seniors. It's not a habit, it's a homecoming. Claire, our friend from Oregon, started trying it after reading a book on Japanese home life. Now every day she walks in, hangs her keys, and whispers, "I'm home." She told me, even on the loneliest days, that sentence makes me feel grounded, like I belong here. But the rituals don't stop at the door. In the heart of many Japanese homes, you'll find a tiny shelf, a kamedana, a spiritual nook, sometimes religious, sometimes not. It might hold incense, a photograph, a note of gratitude. Studies from Waseda University found that people who glance at their kamedana daily experience lower stress biomarkers and report higher life satisfaction. Why? Because it invites pause. It builds stillness into the architecture. And then there's tea, not a mug chugged between emails, not a coffee to go, but a ritual. Sencha, simple green tea, brewed slowly. A kettle that boils at its own pace, leaves that unfold gently, cups that ask you to wait. Families in Japan often drink tea together every evening, and it's not about the taste, it's about the timing. A study in Shizuoka Prefecture found that households who practice daily tea rituals reported 22% lower household tension, just from sharing that quiet moment. So here's a gentle challenge. Start with one ritual. It could be a whisper at the door, a candle lit at dusk, a cup of tea at the same hour every day. Don't do it for productivity. Do it for presence. Because sometimes the soul of your home isn't in what you do. It's in how you do it. And when. In the West, when something breaks, we throw it out. A cracked mug, trash, a scratched table, time to upgrade. A squeaky chair, off to the curb. But in Japan, they do something radically different. They repair it, and not to hide the damage, but to honor it. It's called kintsugi, an ancient art where broken pottery is mended with lacquer mixed with gold. The cracks aren't concealed. They're highlighted. Why? Because the break is now part of the story, part of its survival, and therefore, part of its beauty. Psychologists at Tokyo University found that engaging in kintsugi-style repair reduced stress and improved emotional resilience. Why? Because it teaches us to embrace imperfection, not erase it. But this isn't just about pottery. It's a mindset you can bring into your home today. That dented coffee table? What if you smoothed it, oiled it, and let it wear its years proudly? That old jacket with a tear? What if you stitched it with color instead of shame? Claire did this with an old wooden bench from her childhood. It had a split down the middle. Her instinct was to toss it. But instead, she sanded it gently, filled the crack, and sealed it with clear resin. She didn't hide the wound, she preserved it. Now, every morning she sits on that bench for tea. She told me, "It reminds me that things and people can break and still be beautiful." This mindset also extends to something even simpler: fixing before entering. In traditional Japanese homes, there's a basin near the door. It's called a sukubai, a place to rinse your hands and face before stepping fully into the home. It's symbolic. You wash away the dust of the outside world. You arrive cleansed, inside and out. Modern Japanese households still practice this. According to Japan's National Institute of Public Health, households that wash hands immediately upon return reduce illness transmission by 45%. But again, it's more than hygiene. It's a ritual, a moment of reset. You don't need a stone basin, just a towel by the door, a bowl, a scent, a pause. Because your home isn't just a shelter. It's a second skin. And when you care for what's broken, objects, routines, even yourself, your house begins to heal you back. When was the last time you sat on the floor, not because you had to, but because it felt natural, comforting, close? In many Western homes, furniture rules the room: chairs, sofas, recliners. We elevate ourselves, literally, above the space. But in Japan, the most meaningful moments often happen down low, around a simple low wooden table called a chabudai, surrounded by soft square cushions, zabuton. Meals are shared there. Stories are told. Hearts open more easily when knees touch the floor. Why? Because sitting lower slows you down. It grounds your body and your attention. You're less distracted, more present. Researchers at Kyoto Medical School found that people who eat at low tables eat 20% more slowly, experience better digestion, and report longer, more meaningful conversations. It's not magic, it's just closeness. Claire and Joe now eat one dinner a week at their coffee table. They light a candle, sit on cushions, no TV, no phones, just hands passing food and eyes meeting across the table. Claire told me, "It feels like we're on the same level again. Not just physically, but emotionally." That's the power of posture. It changes presence, and it extends beyond meals. In Japanese baths, people don't stand under a shower head. They sit on a small stool called an ofuro stool to wash slowly before soaking in the tub. It conserves water, prevents slips, but most of all, it shifts the experience from rush to ritual. Studies from Japan's Environmental Research Agency found that seated washing uses up to 40% less water than standing showers, and it reduces falls, especially for seniors. You don't need to remake your bathroom. Just try sitting to wash your feet, to breathe before you bathe. Let the moment stretch, because when your body is closer to the ground, your spirit lifts. Try it. One meal, one wash, one conversation, seated, slower, softer. You might just find that the most powerful changes happen a few inches closer to the floor. Every home tells a story. But the real question is, whose story is it telling? In the West, many homes follow trends. This year's paint color, that magazine's kitchen layout, matching furniture from a showroom. But in Japan, homes are designed around one thing: ikigai, your reason for being. It's not just a philosophy, it's architecture. Everything in the home is arranged to support who you are and who you're becoming. In Okinawa, where people live some of the longest, happiest lives in the world, researchers found something remarkable. Households that aligned their homes with personal purpose reported 30% higher life satisfaction. What does that look like? If you're a musician, your instruments aren't tucked away. They're ready, waiting to be played. If you love to cook, your tools aren't hidden in drawers. They're within reach, bringing joy with every use. If you cherish family history, photos, quilts, letters, they're not boxed in the attic. They live with you, on the walls, in the light. And then there's the Daruma doll, a symbol of commitment. In Japan, when you set a goal, you paint one eye of the doll. Only when you reach it do you paint the other. It's a small, visual promise, a daily nudge, a home that reminds you what matters. Claire placed her Daruma on a bookshelf in her living room. At first, she wasn't sure what goal to set. Then one morning, she wrote a note, "Host Sunday tea for friends, every week." That was her purpose, to reconnect, to share. Week after week, the Daruma sat, watching, until she did it and painted the second eye. Her home now carries the energy of that joy. You don't need a Daruma. It could be a jar of marbles, a note on the fridge, a shelf with meaning. You just need to ask, what do I want this house to whisper back to me each day? Because your home is more than square footage. It's a mirror, a reflection of your values, your passions, your life's next chapter. So look around. What's in your space that reflects your heart? What's missing that your soul needs? Because when your home supports your purpose, it stops being a container and becomes a companion. You don't need to move to Japan. You don't need to renovate. You just need to begin. With one small shift. Hang a curtain, light a candle, drink tea slowly, fix what's broken. Because your home isn't just where you live, it's how you live. And if even one idea from today spoke to your heart, try it this week, then come back and tell us what changed. Leave a comment, share with a friend, and subscribe for more ways to live lightly with meaning. Your home is listening. What will you let it say next?